right, welcome back. You're watching Morning Cafe. Thank you so much for staying with us. I want us to shift gears now and talk matters business. Being a Tuesday, we give prominence to biashara, and we want to paint a clear image of how what the startup ecosystem in Kenya looks like. There's barely enough information around this area, and that is why we want to shed some light on it. What do you think causes most startups to fail? That is the question we're asking you across our social media platforms, and we do encourage you, of course, to be part of this conversation. Talk to us on our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, or next at TV47 Digital, and you can tag me at Ann_Dida. There's also a WhatsApp number that will be displayed on your screen very shortly, 0793267279. Send us a video, a voice note, a comment as to what you think causes most startups to fail. And to help us with this conversation this morning, I have John Wambugu. He's an entrepreneur and leader in the digital and creative economy. Atatuambia moja mbili tatu what we are doing wrong, what we need to do for our startups to thrive in this economy. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Yeah.
Let's just get right into it. What would you describe the environment startups that businesses are operating in today?
All right, thank you. And I hope your week has started
Absolutely
very well so far. It's one of the lessons that I've picked up over the last 4 days. I was lucky to be part of a fellowship program at the KCB Leadership Center that brought about 24 really inspiring young leaders from across the East African palette. And led by really incredible leaders like Natasha Kimani, there was Lindy Wo, there was Maseke, and many others. And one of the things that really stood out during that particular phase when talking to these young leaders is that both, of course, some in business, some in different communities, is that you have to understand that don't do something just to make a point, but you actually do something to win.
There has to be a goal behind it.
Exactly, because once you start doing just something for the sake of it and just to make a point, then what happens then, and we'll be talking about the egos that then come into the founder ego, because you just really want to just do it. Yeah. Instead of actually then focusing and saying, I want to do this because I actually want to win. Yes.
So that's how the environment is looking like. It's more of wanting to prove a point.
Exactly. And totally then yourself then falling in love immensely with your idea that you dreamed about the whole night and saying then I can actually really do this without actually taking time to actually look at what is good within your market, what can actually be able to work, what are the problems that you're actually addressing. Because everything that you're starting off, whether it is Mama Duka or Mama Mboga who's starting off something, has to address a certain problem. And you really have then to say, okay, this particular problem is good within my community, I've seen it. That means then later on when you're looking down to scale, then that makes it easier. The other thing is that also to remember that it will not be a bed of roses. Because failure is really not the exact opposite of success, but during that particular point, that is tuition that you're going through. That is a classroom that you're going through. So don't expect it to be very, very rosy and very perfect. It has to be at a point where you really are looking at the great lessons that you can actually be able then to pick up on. Yes.
And of course, before we get deeper into why, of course, startups in Kenya fail at early stages, talk to us about the cost of doing business in Kenya. Is it really a good environment for startups when somebody is starting? And I know you've talked about how the environment looks like. A lot of people just want to prove a point, yeah? But talk to us about the cost before, of course, I ask you something about, wanting to prove a point.
Right.
Yeah.
In terms of the cost, I think you have to start where you are. Because not everyone then starts off at the same, even when you start a race. The first ones, the people who almost bowled out fast and they are right out ahead of the pack are really not the ones then who at the end of the day are the ones who are winning. Yeah. I think the most important thing is actually you identify to where you are, see where you are, and then actually start from that particular point. Now, of course, then cost will also be something that you really cannot then ignore. Yeah. So the most important thing is to look at what is within your strength, what is your right hand. and say, for example, I have 2-3 chickens. What can I actually do with that? Right? And right now is to also have a persona or be of a person who is actually also a bit patient when you're looking at these things. Because most of the times, and especially for us, in this particular generation, we really want to just run instead of, you learn how to, to crawl and to walk and to, play a bit and then just bolt off. So I do feel that cost, if you look at it heavily when you're starting off, when you see it as a big barrier, and that's why I always tell guys, don't really let that not be the first thing that you're really thinking about, because once you put it as a big cost, then what happens is that you can actually not be able to move forward, because already you've put a barrier in your head, and that particular barrier will always be something that is then holding you back. Think about the value that you can be able to create in the communities that you're in. Think about the problems that you're seeing that is affecting that particular, your neighbor, your family. And more importantly, learn to just also look at existing behavior. A lot of us want to invent new behavior, but actually you're not looking at what does Mama Mboga go through. When you're in a matatu, when a person comes in, when you're looking around, start observing, be observant, look at the existing behavior and then find solutions towards that. The other bit is also to look at a problem that does not almost look like a problem every week, but is actually a problem. So be very, very observant to the environment that you're in.
So this whole issue is not about cost, but actually the problem that your business might solve to the people around you.
Exactly. And yes.
Sorry about that. When you talk about founders, a lot of founders most of the time just want to prove a point. And you mentioned Mama Mboga, right? Yes. I wonder if these businesses, somebody would go straight into starting a Mama Mboga business or something small just outside their door to prove a point. Do they go for the bigger and bolder, or do they actually start from somewhere that will not be really ambiguous? What are the trends you're noticing? Are they going for the bigger and bolder, or are they actually starting small?
I mean, I'm not here to tell you not to actually dream and dream big. We have to. But one of the things is to also remember that as long as you have a poor structure, vis-a-vis you have a very strong structure. As long as you have strong discipline, vis-a-vis weak discipline, and then you're also building to a need that people want, vis-a-vis building to something that people don't want. Then when you look at those point of differences, at the end of the day, you will actually then have then a solution of actually then where you can start. For that particular Mama Mboga, let me just break it down. As long as she's structured, as long as she is consistent and she's within her discipline of actually, I've sold 2-3 today, I'll eat one, I'll save up 2, and I'll put it to the next stock, na even if tutaendelea. At the end of the day, what happens is that then you come up with a pattern that is actually very, very consistent. Something else that, and this is from, and I draw it from my own experience, even, starting off small businesses and failing and trying to pivot and going to other things, is that at times we start off businesses and we overburden those particular businesses with the expectations we have of them. A good example is that you start off a small bakery shop. And that bakery shop, when you look at what it can give you, it probably can give you maybe around, even say maybe profit when you remove all your costs, it will probably give you even around 20,000 shillings. But at the end of the day, you actually want to overburden this particular shop, that it is the one that is going to buy you your car, it is going to buy you a land somewhere. So at the end of the day, instead of saying this particular 20,000 shillings is actually money that I will say it can be able to be offsetting the cost that I have in my house. Or it will actually be able to take my child to school, and I can say that it can pay my child's fees. We have to allocate whatever we are getting, especially when you're starting off a business. And for the small enterprises, to something. But that is not saying that you cannot scale to a point where you can actually be able to do that. But to scale needs a lot of lessons. And I think that is one of the biggest things that also kills off a lot of businesses, where 1-2 years the business is doing well, then 3 years it just tanks. Because at the end of the day, you're overburdening the expectations that you have on that particular business. And that is one of the greatest lessons that you'll see businesses start off. I want to start a business. I want to go sell my things online. I want to bring things from abroad and actually start things, but you have so much expectations of it. You know, instead of saying that this will just actually cover this particular thing, this will actually just cover for my clothing, for example. This will cover for my food in my household. And that should just be enough. And if you're able to sort those things out, if your business is able to sort out those basics, then you go to your first employee, your second employee, and then your business starts actually scaling because you understand a certain discipline. So that's very, very important as we talk to the guys who are, you know, building up.
All right, but when you talk about, of course, before we take a look at what people are saying with regard to our question of the day, sometimes high expectations is a hindrance to, you know, how the business will thrive. But again, having low expectations for your business, we hear a lot about the power of manifestation. Does that also have a role to play as to how, you know, businesses fail in the early stages? Having low expectations for your business, ile uamini sana. You know, when you say that you wanted to get your car, that is high expectations, as you put it. But what if I actually say that this business, I'm starting it today, but I'm looking forward to the day that it's going to get me a car, say in the next 1 year?
Of course, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with actually saying that tomorrow, this particular business will actually get me my first 5 acres, my first 2 acres. It will build me my dream house. That's actually what we want to do. But it's also important to live in a world that you're also realistic. Right? The old Stoics will actually say, since time, they actually say that, see the world as it is. Don't see the world that you are, as you actually want to see it. Right? So you have to understand that as much as, and you're not being told not to be positive. I'm a manifestor myself. I mean, I speak big things to what I actually want to achieve and do in life. But also remember that you have to be realistic. And the other bit, as we cap that off, is also to remember that what got you here will not get you there. Meaning that the lessons that took your business from zero to your first maybe 500K or 1 million or even 100,000. And hugely things that will keep on improving for you to push your business to go to 2 million, to go to 3 million. You have to keep on being able to actually move forward and to be extremely objective about it. And we'll be talking about some of those particular bits, especially like, you know, even how you hire. They say hire slowly, but fire quickly. All
right, just hold on to that point.
We'll talk about
of course. Let's cross over to Dibal and take a listen to what people are saying. Our question of the day, what do you think causes most startups to fail? Dibal.
Many thanks indeed, and a very interesting conversation there with Wambugu. What got you here will not get you there. So also there's something that has gotten us here, and that is the question of the day, and we have feedback coming from you. We just want to sample some of them that are coming through from Facebook. We have Kim Korir saying, if your pricing doesn't cover fixed cost at realistic sales volume, growth will increase losses. I often ask founders, if sales drops, if sales drops 20%, do you survive? Financial modeling is not about big spreadsheets. It's about understanding business logic, price for profit, plan for uncertainty. Hashtag business strategy, financial analysis, entrepreneurship, hashtag break even. That is from Kim Korir, very insightful. Let's see what is coming up again also from Benz D. Rom, Zero Market Research. This is what he's saying. If you don't do your market research nicely, that is also bound to be affecting you. Owen Kips Chemitan Kirui saying advertising as the biggest problem, especially now that the internet has come to beat the traditional advertising, which is very true. So advertising is also very key. All right, we also have voice notes that we want just to play out so that you may listen in as well and hear also good, fresh voices in the morning.
Good morning. case with Fred Ndimoli and Anodida. I'm Promise, watching from Parklands. For me, I think that many startups, for example, in Kenya, they fail because they are crushed mobile structures that have been put in place than competition. They don't just compete in the market alone, but with the regulation and the structural shocks. For example, the Constitution of Kenya under Article 209 provides that taxation is constitutional, meaning that all businesses, however small they are, they have to pay taxes. And the enforcement by the Kenya Revenue Authority and the fiscal changes that hit these businesses before they even stabilize. So I believe they fail less from bad ideas that many people say that we are not having good ideas, but more from regulatory pressure and economic hardship.
Friend Inimuli and Ann Odida. This is Christine from Muihoko, and a very good morning to the Morning Cafe fans as well. The reason I think that most startups fail is because people start them and then they end up over relying on them before they are mature enough, because I believe when you start a small business, you want to nurture it until it's able now to nurture you, but that is not what is happening. Rather, people tend to start small businesses, and then because of the needs that they have, their circumstances, or maybe the current economy, you find that when you make money, instead of putting it back in the business, you put it into your personal needs. So in the eventuality, the business just dies up because you're sucking so much out of it and giving back nothing to it. Yeah, thank you.
Well, good insights there from Christine as well. Issue of taxes, very key. And even as we were discussing earlier from the program, that you need to also put your taxes in order. And we know, especially for the MSMEs, we have the government which is particularly intent on making sure that particular sector is catered for, with the recent appointment of George Obel as a commissioner for MSMEs as well. So that is a very key, critical component of the business as well. So what do you think?
Well, Wambugu, that question was for you, but let me just chip in that particular point. One of our viewers has brought in a very good point: zero market research, issues of taxation as well, and of course what you commented about it. You say that people rely so much on the business, on the startup, before, of course, it matures enough. But now somebody would ask, when is the right time actually to scale this business? And what do you think leads to most of the businesses failing when, the moment they just start to scale up their business? When is the right time to scale up the business?
So thank you. Remember, and thank you for that. Mm-hmm. Remember when we started off, I did mention that you start off something just because you want to prove a point. Mm-hmm. Vis-a-vis, you actually want to be a winner. Mm. And I think that we've seen some businesses that maybe it is one branch mm-hmm. of what it is doing, or if it is one product that is actually doing, and it's working very well, but you actually want them to jump to the next thing. You want to open another branch in Nakuru, you want to open another branch in Meru, and you feel that because then you are everywhere, mm-hmm. then you're successful. Mm-hmm. But the idea is that actually to always call yourself back into a small meeting. Mm-hmm. Whether you're a co-founder, your founders, and actually ask yourself, have I really understood my niche that I am in mm-hmm. good enough to actually then have great lessons that can actually move me forward? Mm-hmm. That's very, very important, because like rightly you've said, mm-hmm. a lot of businesses then will actually want to then scale very, very early. Yes. I want to be seen that I'm on Kiambu Road. I want to be seen that when you go to the city, I am also there. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, you are almost not doing this thing because of, right? Mm-hmm. It's just that because you really want to really prove a point. Yeah. Yesterday evening, my son asked me a good question, and we were just going through this, but still, I have this particular interview today morning. Mm. And, 9, 10-year-old. Mm. And he tells me, what would actually make a person who's selling bananas on the road get visibility to someone then who's actually there on Kiambu Road, but how can they actually also reach someone actually who's also in town?
From Kiambu Road to
Yeah,
town,
because
sell
you know
bananas.
those, you know, bananas. They're selling bananas maybe from a cart, or maybe they've put up somewhere, and people are buying. But how would their business then also be known somewhere outside Kiambu and so on? Because they also probably have that particular aspiration. So also, it's also very important that we also go back to the core of what is your brand. And I think every business, however small, has a mission. As a vision, and that particular vision and mission then should actually then fold up to your brand. I think that's where people also then miss it out. And brand means that you are looking at not just things that are working out towards you, but you're looking then to actually then serve your customer, right? Because if no one is desperate enough to recognize your nice bananas and how you serve them and the value that you give them and the smile that you give them as customers, at the end of the day, no one will actually pay for you. They'll be going to the next person. I mean, if no one pays, then what happens? There's no business. There's actually no business. And the other thing that, and I think one of the voice notes that we had was, I think, from Christine, I think, from Mwehoko, is that at times we are so desperate, right, to actually just, you know, say that I've made 2 shillings at the end of the day. I look at that particular profit, but I don't remember that what is very important in a business is not just the profit, but the cash flow, right? So, for example, I've sold a few bananas throughout the day, but I'm looking at that particular profit and I actually want to go back and maybe use more for that person, and I look at that particular bit. But businesses are actually not run on profit. Businesses are run on cash flow.
Okay.
It's very important for, if you're developing any kind of business, whatever business you're in, to actually then actually understand that. Yes.
Still on that banana analogy, and I like it very much, because you're saying that now, for example, somebody selling bananas along Kiambu Road would want to scale it up and take it maybe to a place in town, for example. Is it a safe way to do business? Still just using this banana analogy.
Right.
From Kiambu Road to town, is it really making sense? Is it a safe way to do business?
Why not? You don't actually have to even think about town, because you see, right now, the times that we are living in are not probably where we were 15, 20 years down, you know, back then. There are platforms, there are WhatsApp groups. And I did say that we have to almost be very so addicted to look at existing behavior. For example, when I was coming here, you know, I was talking about, there was a bit of traffic, and I'm talking to the producer. And heavily we were discussing, I was telling her, you know, I know it was on WhatsApp. I'm 10 minutes away. So clearly, we already have platforms that are already working. For example, WhatsApp is already working for each one of us, heavily. Why then don't I actually make my small business and leverage it towards that particular existing platform? Without hugely thinking that I have to build this particular e-commerce platform that you can get to that particular point where then you're saying that we're just selling the best bananas in the world. But start off by testing your particular product with the environment that you're in. And what that means is that you find ways to test your product very early, test it in a very cheap way, and test it in a very fast way, without a lot of costings to it, without a lot of you going and saying, okay, I have bananas here in Kiambu, I have a small shop here, I'll now go and open a shop in Westlands. I'd not advocate for that. But how about you get maybe to a certain WhatsApp group that is there of business people, or is
just around Kiambu.
Just around maybe even Nairobi, not just even Kiambu, but even now where you want to scale. And actually, without even costing you anything, start testing that business out there. Maybe you have a few relatives who live somewhere, and maybe they're in a certain community, and they live in a certain, you know, in a certain community, and they're in a WhatsApp group for that particular community. Why can't you tell someone, how about you put my bananas on that particular platform and say, we have the best bananas, you can actually be able to order.
So this is for somebody who is a farmer and farming.
For example.
And farming bananas.
Yes.
That would work for them as opposed to, say, Mama Mboga who has a lot, akona mboga, sukuma wiki, spinach and all, and also just has a portion of, these bananas. That cannot work if they are taking it from Kiambu to Westlands, for example, or can it?
But what I meant is that instead of overthinking about, what do I say? Instead of overthinking about that I have to go and set up something that is physical in Westlands.
Yeah.
Remember, like Dibala was pointing out, there are taxes that you have then to incur.
Yeah.
There are shelves that you have to put up in your small, kiosk or boutique that you're going to set up. Find very easy ways to actually test it out there.
Okay. Like a supplier or something?
Like a supplier.
Okay.
Get someone, get a relative who's there, who lives in, and tell them, by the way, why don't you sell these bananas for me in your group or in your community group, and maybe I'll give you something to that. If that works over time, then you're like, by the way, this particular community, I can actually set up something there. Instead of actually then blindly then saying, I will go there and I'll put up a proper branch, well branded, with neon lights everywhere, and that is really, really working. So those are some of those things that we really have to be able to. So there's a thing before you have to test it out, but there's also something about, and you pointed it out. You have to be very very objective when you're really saying that you have to scale your business. Again, don't scale so early until you've got the proper lessons and until you've taken that model and tested it out in an easy and a faster way somewhere else. So like we say, validate it first, seek validation of the market, then you can then scale it much later. And validation means that the people want to actually buy what you're giving or the need that you're actually coming to feel. They actually want to buy and they want to pay for that.
Right. So when scaling, it doesn't have to be about me as a founder, but about the people around that area where I want to scale it. And there's also this concern, for example, whatever I'm selling in Kiambu Road, let's use bananas, for example.
Right.
If I'm selling bananas along Kiambu Road and I want to scale it somewhere like, say, for example, Mombasa, and I assume people from Mombasa don't really like bananas, but people in Kisii love bananas very much. So how do we now navigate these two? The place where to scale this biashara, to be specific, because I cannot take it to Mombasa if it won't do well there. But if I take it to Kisii, then the chances of it doing very well is a 90% chance. So how do we really navigate that whole scenario? How to really just identify the correct market for scaling up this business?
That's a very good point that you pointed out. Remember, of course, just because Kisii there are many, it's a banana county. Does not mean that your bananas might sell there.
Really?
Because who knows, right? And just to throw a spanner in the works, because the competition is so much stronger there, right? But maybe in Mombasa, you might actually sell your bananas for even more.
Now it's vice versa.
Right. So at the end of the day, I think that's why I'm saying it is to, one, do your very good market research. That's very important. However small of a business that you're starting, I think the idea is not to go there very blindly, again, just to prove a point, but really see that you really want to actually do that. Because one of the things that kills a lot of businesses, you've had this particular phrase where someone is saying, oh, you know what, I've closed my business in Kisii for bananas because there's so much competition. But I don't think it's competition that kills off your businesses heavily. Heavily, it is what you call founder's ego. And you have to get to a point where you have to be very objective at that point of difference where you're going then towards, is it founder's ego that is pushing me to actually go and just want to just do something just because I want to do something? And at the end of the day, when I'm having a drink with my friends, and I can actually say, by the way, unajua, nilianza hii biz bana. Unajua, you have to be extremely very objective about it. And market research is also very important. Again, I'm always of the opinion that when you're looking at new businesses, don't just seek out. And I know what you call maybe the game in theory is probably talks it a bit differently, but seek out to places that have less competition. Because at the end of the day, you're able to build up a monopoly around that particular business very, very fast. If you're going to take bananas to Northeastern from Kisii, if you find a way to make sure that they are fresh and they are getting that particular place there, do you think you'll get some more businesses?
You will.
Other than just saying, you know, I just want to stick around Kisii because, you know, I grew up seeing my grandfather and my uncle and my cousins, and this is proper what we are doing. And this is all we are doing. And we are, you know, we are a banana family.
Yeah.
And instead of actually being bold enough and being sort of a maverick and seeking out something and going to Mombasa, go to Northeastern and actually start off something that is actually there. So my thinking would be a bit, you know, on the other way around, where I have to look for places that I can be bold enough. And those places also teach you more. I think if you do a banana business again, and for the great love of the people of Kisii, if you do your business of bananas just in Kisii, it's good for the lessons and how you treat the crop and the foundationals. But how much different feedback will you get from the market? You know? So go to places that also challenge you and build you up and do all those things.
That brings me to the issue of pricing. Because, you know, not all businesses will have the privilege of taking bananas from Kisii and taking it to Northeastern or taking it to Mombasa for it to thrive there. Now they're here, domiciled in Kisii, in an area where competition is very, very stiff. Now, how do they price these bananas to ensure that in one way or the other, there's just something that makes them stand out? Because they're not privileged enough to go to Northeastern, to, of course, supply these bananas in Mombasa as well. What to do in this case?
Right. So how I'd look at it is that selling in whatever that you're doing, and I draw this particular lesson from my business development history, is that selling is about giving. Selling is about giving. Meaning that you have to constantly remember that you have to give something to your customer to get something back. Just the same way you go to a house of worship. And as much as you're getting that word, you know, the minister, the preacher stands there and gives you that particular word. At the end of the day, without when you almost have to know that you have to give something at the end of the day. You have to offer something back to what you've got. And you have to be very objective around that, because then saying that, and hence that means that for you then to differentiate then your business in a place, and I think that's where you're talking about, where there are so many of these that are doing what's the right price that will not, of course, then undercut the market, where you look like you're a sellout. You know, you're selling your bananas for 1 shilling and everyone has been selling for 5 shillings. And they say you're a, you know, you sold off your soul and so on, and you're messing up the market, right? It is also very important that you understand that you have to give away the bait or give away the gateway so that you can build up the ecosystem. And I'll explain a bit of that. Giving the bait means that if you open a store and say, someone says, I am going to sell, I'm selling 5 bananas, and each banana is 5 shillings. So 5 bananas then would be 5 times 5, which is 25 shillings.
Right.
And then someone comes there and says, I'm selling 5 bananas, but my 5 bananas are actually 15 shillings.
All of the 5? Or 1?
No. 1.
Yes.
1 is 5 shillings. For both of you, 1 is 5 shillings.
Yes.
But one person who's selling 5 bananas, a bundle of 5 bananas, is selling the 5 bananas for 25 shillings. Vis-a-vis someone else who's actually selling 5 bananas at 5 shillings, but then the bundle is 15 shillings. Who do you think will actually get more?
Of course, the 15.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Sell the bait, then build the ecosystem. And we can learn so much about even tech, tech platforms. from your Amazon and all those particular guys from where they have something that they call a freemium model, meaning that you pay something small. Sorry, you give it for free. You give the gateway. You give what brings people into your house for free. You've opened the gates for free. But once they are inside your gates, you start selling them a cup of tea.
Yeah. You add something.
You add something, and that is what actually you're selling. But the bait was actually to lure them in. Once you've luring someone, for this context, it sounds a bit off, but then you've actually baited them to actually come into your ecosystem. And then once they're there, then you own that particular ecosystem. And easily that is how then tech has hugely been scaling. When you look at all the greats, like, from your Facebook, from your BNB, your Bolt and all those particular bits, they do that.
So when you talk about selling the bait, there's also this issue of retaining the customers that you've built. It gets to a point where of course you want to grow this business. You've been selling these bananas, a bunch of 5 at say 15 Kenyan shillings. But it gets to a point where you also just want to go higher and higher in your business. And then you come to a conclusion that now you want to increase this 5 bunch to say 25 Kenyan shillings or even to 30. Your customer is there. They are used to this 15 Kenyan shillings. How do you retain them? Because now, they would want to run away. Some would want to run away to go and get these ones that are 20 shillings or 25 shillings because now you are trying to, overprice it, or not necessarily overprice it, but umeongeza pesa. How do you retain your customer base?
That's a very good one. Remember, once the people are coming to buy what they are buying from you, as much as they are buying based on price, there is something else that you have to also start. Once you bet them on the price, you have to try as much as possible to now move towards value. Sort of a value proposition.
Yeah.
And for example, for that particular person, top of my head, who's selling bananas, can I be able then to bundle something else? Can I be able then to say, oh, and by the way, we have also, you've been enjoying my nice bananas, and we have a very nice, you're my customer for many years. We also have brought in some nice apples here. Do you think they'll actually run away? But now you're selling your apples for another 10 shillings or so. And that then covers
10 shillings extra.
Exactly. That covers you from the 5 shillings that you lost on the bananas. But at the end of the day, you're selling value.
Okay.
So as much as you bait someone, and we can learn these great lessons from, they say that simplicity is the essence of a genius. You have to constantly be someone who is actually looking at things in a very simple way, very simple modeling, right? And then you now move slowly away from just the pricing to actually selling value. For example, the good suit that our good friend has on today, he probably has gone to the same tailor and has told him, there's a certain price that he buys that particular suit from.
Yeah.
It's about Dibal.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he then when the tailor has bought 1, 2, 3, so then he'll actually tell him, by the way, we've just brought in shirts. Will he start saying, but see, you price me for the amount that I'm buying for the suit?
Yeah.
He'll actually buy into that. So slowly you start building value, and that is what I'm talking about, an ecosystem.
Now let's go to Dibal. Now that you talk about Dibal, and Dibal, you've been told your suit looks so nice.
I'm enjoying the conversation, just of course, listening in and saying, oh, wonderful insights that are coming from there, right? Simplicity, you said, Wambogo, is the essence of?
Being a genius.
Genius. Fantastic. That is just luminary. All right, let's just see what some of the feedback that are coming through right now. And we just want to sample from Facebook also. We get voice notes from WhatsApp. And we have Exalt G traders, right? These are what they think, right? As the traders, they're inadequate capital. That can be a big tripping wire. We have lack of managerial skills, lack of competitive staff. Kuna wengine wako hapo for their own needs. They don't buy your dreams. Yeah, so have they bought into your dreams so that you're selling together? Stiff competition is another also big hindrance as well. And government policies kama biashara ya pombe. when we have very unpredictable policy environment that keep on changing as well, that can adversely affect you. Vet Guru KE, please ask the expert, a SWOT analysis in business really means, and does it help in anything, especially during these hard economic times, right? So you can tell us, Wambogo, how do we apply this SWOT analysis here? Let's see what's up next. We have also O'Brien Lumex. Most startups fail because they focus more on the idea than the actual problem they're solving. Many don't validate market demand early enough, run out of cash due to poor financial management, underestimate competition, or struggle with weak team dynamics. In simple terms, when there is no strong product market fit, no clear revenue strategy, and no adaptability to feedback and change, even the most exciting startup idea eventually collapses. Very insightful there from O'Brien Lumex. I have also Ngina Faith saying most startups fail because of lack of knowledge in their field or product, poor marketing skills, lack of patience, and lack of daily improvement on digital skills. Very interesting there. Kuwa bila subira. You need some patience to wait for your business to thrive. Also, we have Simon Kinyanjui, poor market research and high cost of doing business, especially in our country, Kenya. Right, Wambogo, you had that particular question regarding the SWOT analysis. Then how do we apply in trying to make sure that it is solid rock so that my startup doesn't fail? Have I covered all bases looking at the SWOTs?
Right, that's your question.
All right, good, yes. Yes, and thank you for that. SWOT basically means the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats that then you are envisioning for, can be your startup, and that you're also going through whenever even you're starting, if you're existing business. It's also very important for you to always go back to actually the fundamentals and keep on ideating. And when I go back to when you're looking at your SWOT, it is very, very important to be because this is a point where you're doing an objectivity analysis of yourself and your business.
Yeah.
And you're then saying that, what are my strengths as a business? What is my capital limit? What are my weaknesses in terms of the product that I actually want to push out there? What can I not be able to do? But does also that weakness mean that I cannot start right now? I don't think so. Can I then start off and as I build it to convert it to a strength? And then there's also then the opportunities. What are the opportunities within my community? What are the opportunities when I start selling just with bananas that I can actually be able then to be then a full grocery boutique or store, you know, that is doing very, very well and bringing all the fruits together. And then you're going to the threats. The threats would be then, for example, your competition is one of those things. In people, for example, in the tech world, counterfeit is also a big threat, where you have built up something. It's a physical product that you're selling to people, but it is counterfeit. So all those are different things to actually look at them. And it is also very important. Remember, we talked about structuring. Right. That businesses don't die out because they are started off by unintelligent founders or people. Everyone understands that, but it is really because you're not being objective enough to sit down, call yourself into a room alone, and do your proper SWOT analysis of actually what you envisioned. And then what happens is that you then sort of start your business being more of a wall than seeing your business as a bridge. So SWOT is extremely helpful, extremely important, not just help, but very, very important for you to be very objective and to sit and do an analysis.
All right. The issue of zero market research has also come up a lot from our feedback that we're receiving this morning. But what does thorough market research entail? What are the steps? What is it about, market research?
Market research is really understanding your consumers before even you go into it, right? Understanding that this particular problem that I have, would customers actually pay for it, right? If they cannot be able to pay for it, really and truly, it is just a really nice nice, beautiful idea that you have, that you can talk about it when you go home and you're having, a conversation with your family. That's basically, but without, and someone also pointed out, it's what we talk about validation. You're going out there to actually then validate and make sure that almost that this can be able to be a good product fit, or what you have a product that we call even a minimum viable product, right? That helps you do two things. If you're able then to do proper market research.
What's a minimal viable product?
Yes. A minimal viable product is a product that is actually just enough to get to the market.
Okay.
Right? If you think of, what do I want to say? Maybe not bananas, but then you can give another example. Maybe you're selling, mulikamuizi, for example. A mulikamuizi is, for example, what? You have even one for 1,000 shillings, even 2,000 shillings. That particular gets the work done. But does it mean that it will stop someone else from actually buying a smartphone? That means that you have actually validated that product is needed in the market. If someone is actually buying a mulikamuizi, it means that particular product is needed in the market. If no one bought a mulikamuizi, that means when if you bring in a phone that even opens up and flies around this particular studio, really no one then will actually be able then to see the point of that. So that is what then market research really helps you to actually do. Something else that I've said this before in other forums, is that you have to market your product first before you sell your product. Talk about it. Talk about it and test it out, right? If you're going to be able to be bringing in new bananas from Kisii and you're northeastern, for example, you're in Mombasa, right? Start building that particular, network way before, 6 months, 1 year in. If you're going to be launching a certain page that you'll be bringing things from China, for example, on your page, don't bring them today and you open your page today and tomorrow, no. Do that 6 months before.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's also this issue of taxation as we wind up, which has also come up. So how can startups navigate the stress of taxation? They say that, they have to register, there's no profits with these startups, but then again, they are required to pay taxes before they even make profits for these businesses. So how do they navigate that stress?
I know, and that is something that, there are things that I say that are hugely not within our control. There are variables that constantly change that are hugely not within our control. And at times we just have to try and find ways then to navigate it. But is also to remember that being very objective as one of the things that will be a cost of production to what you're doing is to stick to what we call a contrarian truth. Is a truth that is the truth, whether it is going to be accepted by 2 people or 3 people, right? That this actually, you'll actually be paying taxes. And that is the truth, right? But at the end of the day, what you then hope for is that the government of the day or the people who make those particular policies, at the end of the day, also understand that there is a journey to actually get there.
All right.
So then that segmentation then works out to then help that particular person who wants to go to start off their product to be able then to actually get to growth much faster. Because if someone is selling 10 bundles of bananas a day, the government or the people who are in policy, who are building those particular taxes or any of the other policies that are affecting that particular person, even the business registrations that are there, they have to also be very objective and to say, we want this particular person to be paying us more taxes, but how do we also help them pay us more taxes? That's how we have to think about it.
Right.
Because when they open a big shop somewhere, then at the end of the day, what happens? They'll be able to be paying more taxes, but we have to be able then to actually get them and guide them to that particular point.
All right. Let's go back to Dibal and listen to what viewers are saying. Conversation on startups. What do you think causes most startups to fail, Dibal?
Yes, indeed. We continue to get information coming in, of course, fast and thick. Very interesting conversation. I think if Wambogo has not written a book, he should right now, and that is the contrarian truth, the absolute truth that you're talking about this morning. All right, as is coming up, let's just see. We've given you that particular indication on our question. What does it really take to make a successful startup, and what are the tripping wires? Simon Kinyanjui is saying poor market research and high cost of doing business, especially in our country, Kenya. That seems to be a constant refrain. You know, research before you launch out. The price mistake. Most SMEs price for revenue, they do that. Very few price for survival. Pricing without cost clarity is gambling, he says. And also, before setting price, you must know your fixed cost, variable cost per unit, contribution margin, break-even volume. And this is what Kim Koriri is saying on Facebook. And right now, we want to go to the voice notes as well. At least we get to hear some fresh voices.
Hello, good morning. Morning Cafe with Freddy Ndimoli and Ann Odida. I'm Natasha and I'm watching from Ngara, Nairobi. So my view on the causes that make most startups to fail is that most startups normally fail due to poor leadership and poor management. In short, the leadership team that is involved with the startup is the team which is the most sensitive aspect of the startup that will decide and will influence if the startup will succeed or if it will fail. Because a good team, a good management team will address issues in the startup and how to solve challenges that come with it. A good team will ensure there is teamwork, there is cooperation, there is focus. You know, they'll be able to know how to deal with situations. So if a team doesn't know how to handle issues, of course, the startup will fail in all aspects, from funding to unity and cooperation to challenges and how to handle them. So yeah, those are my views on why most startups fail.
So good morning, Kev, Anne and Fred. My name is Nancy, watching from Tendegwa. I would like to say one of the reasons why startup fails is because of lack of solving a problem. Every startup should at least solve a certain problem in a community or in a place or in a region, whereby once you are able to solve a problem, then you don't have to fight the bigger market. The market is there because so many people are going through that problem, and that means they'll come for a solution. Thank you.
All right, very, very lovely insights there. Thank you so much, of course, for being part of this conversation, and to you, John, for making time to talk to us about this very pertinent issue, when our startup fails. We've talked about a lot of things, what to do, what not to do. Of course, research is mandatory, the SWOT analysis being important, not an option. And of course, umesema founder ego should not be anything in question. So thank you so much. That is John Wambugu. He's an entrepreneur and leader in the digital and creative economy. Dibal, what's your takeaway?
Yeah, good, rich stream of information coming from John. I think if you've not put this information down to a book, you should. It's a disservice to this nation. Very illuminating for me. I've picked out that particular slogan. Yeah, I liked it so much. I'll be using it. Yeah, if you give me now the rights, the intellectual property. Yeah. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your insights and how you're informing Kenyans about how to run successful businesses.
All right, and that brings us to the end of this conversation. Happy New Year once again. Hopefully we'll see you some other time to ongelea matters biashara even more. My name is Ann Odida.
My name is Dibala Nair.
TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, or next at TV47 Digital. Let's continue this conversation online. We'll see you tomorrow bright and early. Enjoy the rest of your day.